I want to talk about 3 questions that you are asking yourself every single day. A lot of the times what we focus on is simply the way that we are experiencing a situation. We're gonna go have some dinner. You might be saying that's really late for dinner. I'm using an example, humor me here. But let's say we got together and you're saying, yes, cool, I'll meet you there. And then at the time of you arriving, I'm not there. What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Walking Manifestator. I'm Alexa Benga, and in today's talk, I want to talk about 3 questions that you are asking yourself every single day that you might not be aware of. And before I get into it, I want to use an example, okay? So a lot of the times what we focus on is simply the way that we are experiencing a situation, right? So for instance, if let's say I told you, hey, we're gonna meet at 10 p.m., we're gonna go have some dinner. You might be saying that's really late for dinner. I'm using an example, humor me here. But let's say we got together and you're saying, yes, cool, I'll meet you there. And then at the time of you arriving, I'm not there. Well, your natural reaction to how you're going to react to that situation is going to be based off what you're focusing on. Either you can be very mad at the fact that I am so rude to you, I can't believe that Alexa told me she was going to be here and she's not here, or you can be the type of person that is very concerned, right? You're like, oh gosh, like it's 10 and she said she was going to be here, she's not answering her phone, I wonder if something happened to her. There's 2 realities in that moment that we're living in. The situation is not changing, but the way that we're projecting that onto the world is simply based off how we view the world, right? Based off how our lens is viewing this external reality that we are encountering in this moment. Now, if 10:30 comes around and I'm still not there, chances are either if you were the first person, you're super upset, you're done with me, you never want to hear of me again, or on the latter, you're the person that's extremely worried and now you're probably considering I should probably call the cops because Alexa's not here and she's not answering and that's not normal of her. So I'm really, really worried, right? And I wanted to start off with that example because it's very simple when we see things in a grand scheme, right? Like when we see it as like, oh yeah, like that's very easy to see it. That's very simple to understand it because you're seeing it as an example that you can clearly identify this person is overreacting, this person is underreacting, this person is, totally taking it personal, whatever it is. But the interesting part is when we're experiencing that in a moment of uncertainty, when we're experiencing it in a moment in which we personally feel that this is, let's say, a personal attack, we react very, very different. So today I want to talk to you about 3 questions, decisions that you're constantly making every single day without you even being aware of them, okay? And the first one is really, what are you focusing on mainly? Are you the type of person that focuses more on what you have, or do you focus more on what you're missing? And this can be from anything. Like I really want you to ask yourself this question. Like if you have, $1,000 in your bank account today and then tomorrow you don't have them, are you the type of person that now focuses on the fact that you don't have them, or are you more focused on the fact that, hey, maybe you bought some groceries with that, you paid some bills, and you're thankful for the fact that you were able to make those payments for those bills? Do you focus more on what you lack or on what you have? Okay, and really sit with that question because I think that this is something important when you're in this growth journey. If you're watching these videos, you probably have some type of understanding geared around energy and geared around manifesting. And what we focus on, we tend to attract more of. I've had this friend that I've told, you're focusing so much on creating more opportunities and creating more abundance and chasing the next thing that you're not taking care of your personal well-being. And this person has told me, well, like, I can't take care of my personal well-being because I need to create more money, and I can't create more money until I focus on this, and I can't take care of myself until I make more money. Therefore, myself gets neglected until I create more money. And personally, that has never worked out for me. The moments in which I've neglected myself, the point to, being in bed rest because my back gave out on me because I was just pushing myself to the point where I was not necessarily living a healthy, balanced lifestyle. I was going to the gym literally from like, if my whole day, was busy, got appointments, I had the boys, I was getting home, putting the boys to bed, getting everything situated for them. And then for those of you that know, I take care of my grandparents. So obviously I'd be able to leave the boys here asleep, go to the gym literally like at 11 o'clock at night, not leave until probably like 1 o'clock, depending the situation. If I was working an hour and a half at the gym, 2 hours, get back home to wake up for 6 a.m. By the time that I was ready for bed, I was literally going on like 4 hours of sleep. I was really neglecting myself, although from the external looking at me, you would think like, oh, she looks healthy, like she's fit, she works out. From the internal, like physiological perspective, from like the internal mental perspective, I was not living a healthy, balanced lifestyle. So I took it upon myself to say, okay, now I have to start going at 8 exactly, and I have to figure it out with the bedtime. And then it took into like, okay, well, you know what, maybe I should try going in the morning, although I don't like going in the morning because it's really packed and it's just not fun. For those of you that know, going to the gym, that can never be fun. But I've been making those changes that truly allowed me to now say, okay, how can I change my schedule? And when we're talking about focusing on what you have versus what you're missing, if you think about it, in this example that I was sharing with my friend, he's so focused on what he doesn't have that he's actually acting as a repellent to whatever he's looking to attract. I made a story on my Instagram. If you have not checked out my stories, my links are all down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, or if not on podcast, they're all down below as well. But I make a lot of daily tips. And one of the things I was talking about is that you're chasing these dreams, thinking that you're chasing your dreams, but in reality, personally, I believe that your dreams are actually calling you. And the reason why you have these vivid dreams of something that you want to create is because in an alternate reality, you've already actually had that happen, right? If everything exists in the quantum field, then it already is happening, right? We talked about how your imagination creates your reality. So why am I saying this? Because when this person, as the example that I'm using, is focusing solely on creating more abundance, therefore neglecting their own abundance that they have internally, they are repelling that abundance that they're seeking, and they're actually attracting more of the lack because they're so focused on what they don't have. So question number one that you should be asking yourself is, what am I focusing on? Am I focusing more on what I have, or am I focusing more on what I don't have? Now, question number two is, are you somebody that constantly focuses more on what you can control or on what you can't control? And I'll give you an example, because I think that control is really just an illusion when it comes to external circumstances. Like, we really have no control. Like, you have no control over watching this podcast right now and your internet going out on you. You have no control over the fact that there can be a hurricane hitting, which right now there's a really major hurricane happening. Well, it happened last night, depending on when you're watching this video, and it happened in Florida. And there's people out there that, I mean, they're really going through it. I personally have a friend out there that I wanted to make sure that they were okay, message them. And there's a lot of external things that are happening in the world that you have no control over. But the one thing you do have control over is your reaction to these external things. And when we talk about, are you actually controlling these things, and focusing right on the control you have for these things, or in this illusion of the control that you have, because again, we go back to, you really have no control over the external circumstances. What you do have control over is over yourself. So are you more consumed by the fact that, maybe somebody got you upset, they didn't reply back to you, your boyfriend is acting a certain way with you, your girlfriend is acting a certain way, your husband left, the dishes dirty? Do you have control over all of those things, or do you have control over how you're going to give your energy based off how that situation presented itself? And I think that this is something that if we could just give more energy and pay attention to how we're going about it, this is truly where we make the biggest changes in our life, because what you focus on is what you create more of. So where your attention goes, more of that energy is going to flow there. Just think about it right now. Like, you have a shirt on, I don't know, right? Let's assume you have a shirt on and you're wearing this shirt, and you can feel the fibers on your skin if you focus on it. But before that, you weren't even thinking about it, right? Before that, you weren't even thinking about your little toe that you have, right? Before that, you were not focused on your lashes. You weren't focused on any of these things until you pay attention to them. So this is why outlining the 3 questions that you're always asking yourself that are impacting the rest of your reality are so important. Because if you don't realize that these questions that you're constantly going through in your mind, well, then they're just on autopilot, right? They're just asking whatever at random times, and you're worried about, oh, why didn't they reply to me? Oh, why did they say this to me? Oh, I look so horrible in this. And the list goes on and on and on and on. You see, and the last question, the 3 decisions here that we talked about, you know, the 3 main questions that we're always asking or focusing on is, are you more consumed and focused on your present, in your past, or in your future? And if the answer for you is, I'm more focused on my past, then chances are you're constantly worried about all these things that you already lived through, but you're reliving in your mind. I asked my grandma this question, you know, the other day. I love having conversations with her because she's one of the few people that, this lady's 76 years old, for those of you that no, she does not look 76 years old, but she's had a really tough life. Like, she has had definitely a hard life. She came from a background of 18 siblings, like literally, yes, 18. Very, very humble beginnings. You know, she did the very best that she could for me. And for those of you that have listened to the first podcast, I shared a little bit about our situation when I was first being raised with her. And this is the reason why I feel like I owe her the world. And I share this with you because when I have conversations with her, some people sometimes say like, oh, you know, you have to be at a certain mentality, and after a certain age, you don't change, and it's just what it is. And that's not true. That's just a reality that you're choosing to recreate over and over and over again, because that's what you're choosing to give energy to. And when I was asking her, I was like, she talks in Spanish, so I was asking her in Spanish, but I was like, hey, like, do you think that, you know, these conversations that we have about like the mindset and like the perspective behind it, 'cause she's like a straight shooter. Like, if she doesn't like something, she will tell you. And if she thinks something is BS, she'll tell you. And if she thinks something is actually accurate, she'll tell you. So I was asking her, I was like, do you think this actually makes a change for you? Like, do you feel it? And I've seen it, but I wanted to know if she actually felt it. She's like, honestly, yes, because a lot of the times I just get so much anxiety around things that I'm worried about, whether somebody did this or they didn't do this, or they replied to me or they didn't reply to me, or how they made me feel. But when you take all of that out and you just focus on what you can control, which is your reaction to it, and I stop focusing on all the past trauma that I've had, and understand that all of those traumas that have happened actually led me to where I'm at right now, which I'm extremely thankful for. She goes on to say, I actually feel like there's this weight lifted off my shoulders because I'm more focused on what I have now versus what I didn't have. And you see, this is the thing that most of us are doing. We're just so consumed with, especially social media. Gosh, like, I know I'm guilty of it. If I don't catch it and I let my monkey brain do its monkey thing and not actually my awareness, if I'm scrolling, like just going through, let's say, some videos to try and see like what's new trends, you know, what new trends are going on, to make sure that I can cover a video about it or whatever the case is, if I'm not careful, I will easily get consumed by pretending or like assuming that this person's life looks so perfect, right? And I'm like, man, like there's just so many things that I want to do, and I want to touch more individuals in terms of like sharing my message with them, and I want to reach more individuals. I think that's a better word, right? I want to reach more people. I want to share this message with people, and I want more people to just be inspired to go out there and become the best version of themselves, because I feel like if they're the best version of themselves, then our humanity and our society as a whole continues to quantum leap and become a better vibration. And if I'm not careful, I'll start slipping in the slippery slope of just like wanting to focus on everything that I don't have control over yet, and everything that I don't have versus everything that I do have, everything that I'm so blessed to be able to experience in this moment right now. And I think that this is something that is very powerful when you can start asking yourself, okay, am I focusing more on the things that make me upset, or on the things that make me happy? Am I focusing more on the things that I have or the things that I'm missing? Am I focusing more on the things that I can control or the things that I can't control? And really, am I solely focused on my past? Am I really going to continue to allow that one traumatic, experience to control the rest of my life? Because guess what? You have no control over what that person did to you or what that situation made you face. You really have no control over it anymore. It's done. It's happened. And I know sometimes when I hear this out loud and I think very, very deeply into some situations that have happened to me, like the egoistic side of me wants to say like, why are you just discrediting that it happened? Like, it was a traumatic thing, Alexa, right? Like me having this internal dialogue. And then my awareness comes into play and it's like, I'm not dismissing it. I understand we went through it, but what good is it if we continue to focus on that? Let's focus on all the beautiful things you have now. Let's focus on the fact that you're a badass and that you went and created your, over 6-figure business in real estate. And let's focus on the fact that you actually got to acquire your first Airbnb. Let's focus on the fact that you have 2 beautiful boys. Let's focus on all of these things versus focusing on what you don't have in this past reality of yours. So, we often talk about how what we think of is what we magnify more of. We often talk about how your thoughts create your reality. And I really wanted to just give you these, tools for you to really just sit back and think about it next time. There is this guided meditation that I'm going to be releasing so that you guys can listen to it. It's completely free. It's just something that I've put together based off different techniques that have helped me. I know they're in the spiritual community and the, self-development community. Everybody has something that really sets the tone for the rest of their morning. And honestly, just taking 10 minutes out of your day to just practice gratitude. But I'm not talking about sitting there and just writing out oh, I'm so thankful for all the abundance that I have, and then really feel like you don't have abundance. I'm more so talking about really getting in this state where you're holding your heart, truly being thankful for everything, trying to find that one memory that you can really connect to really bring your energy around it. And I'm not kidding you. Every time I do this in the morning, you might say oh, Alexa, you're so dramatic. But I get very emotional when I do it because I can't help but feel thankful for the opportunities that I've had, even through all the struggles. And I just want to share this with you because I feel that if you're in this growth process, if you're in this journey right now, looking to become a better version of yourself, these tools are essential. No affirmation is going to help you unless you really start internally changing. No coach is going to help you. No $1 million business plan blueprint is going to help you. No ad that you're running is going to help you unless you help yourself. And it really starts internally. It truly does. So with that being said, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode here of Walking Manifestator. For those of you that know, we do have a completely free community. It's linked down below. If you're interested in checking it out, feel free to do so. I will also be releasing the guided meditation there. Again, totally free. It's just my way of giving back to the community and sharing more insights that have allowed me to truly not only break past a lot of my old limiting beliefs, but truly what allowed me to start living a life that's more in abundance, and not necessarily just from the perspective of money, but also from the perspective of being fulfilled. So if you want to check that out, feel free to go ahead and click that. We will go ahead and approve the members on a daily basis. And if you have anything in particular that you would like for us to cover on the next topic, please leave us a comment down below or feel free to send us an email. With that being said, I hope you are having a fantastic rest of your week, and I will talk to you guys on the next one.